Is there such a thing as a murder room? Here's one that might just fit the bill. Number 404 is the room everyone at the Grand Hotel dei Bains in Italy speaks of in hushed tones. Legend has it that anyone who spends the night here will be met by the ghastly specter of a man in a top hat. Then, come morning, they're found dead. The series of deaths associated with room 404 began back in 1891, when a famous opera singer was found lifeless in the room after having been strangled with his own bow tie. The following year, a young girl staying in the same room suddenly stopped breathing for no apparent reason. After that, another well-known singer died in the room from an apparent heart attack. These mysterious deaths kept occurring. Author Mario Praz wrote, "In 404 people die or try to kill themselves." With so many strange occurrences happening within its four walls, management finally decided to close off the room altogether. But this didn't stop the deaths. Even with the room sealed off, people were still found dead in the exact same spot. Was there something evil lingering within the room? And if so, what was it? What follows is a collection of rumors and stories about room 404 from the hotel staff and guests over the years. Some claim to have seen a dark figure in the room, while others sensed a chilling presence or heard unexplained sounds. On this episode of Room 404, let us dive into the details behind these horrifying encounters and find out what really goes on behind the door of room 404. We begin our story in the early 20th century at the Grand Hotel dei Bains, located in Montecatini Terme, a small town situated between Florence and Pisa. The five-star establishment had a reputation as a luxurious retreat for those seeking relaxation and rejuvenation. The hotel boasted elegant rooms, exceptional service, and a plethora of high-profile guests, including European royalty and renowned artists. However, despite its reputation for luxury and grandeur, there was one room in particular that was shrouded in mystery and fear. Room 404. Rumors had long circulated about the room's sinister reputation, which only grew stronger with each passing decade. In 1901, a celebrated opera singer named Antonio Valenciana checked into the Hotel's room 404. He had been performing in a production of Hamlet at the nearby Teatro del Maggio Musicale Fiorentino, and had chosen to stay at the hotel for its proximity to the theater. However, what started as an ordinary stay quickly turned into a nightmare. In the middle of the night, the singer was awakened to find someone tightening his silk tie around his throat. He struggled to free himself, but his assailant tightened his grip until he blacked out. When the hotel staff arrived, they found the opera singer lying lifeless on the floor, his body contorted in a final silent scream. The coroner's report revealed that Valencia had died from strangulation, his own bow tie used as the instrument of death. This shocking incident sent shockwaves through the hotel and the local community, with many whispering that room 404 was cursed. Despite the tragic event, the hotel management decided not to close off the room, perhaps hoping that such a tragedy would never repeat itself. But sadly, they were wrong. Just a year later, in 1902, a young girl named Margarita Montegrossi checked into the hotel with her family. The family had been traveling throughout Europe and had chosen to stay at the Grand Hotel dei Bains for a few nights. However, their stay was cut short when the young girl was found dead in her room. She had stopped breathing in the middle of the night, and despite the frantic efforts of her parents and the hotel staff, she could not be revived. The circumstances surrounding the girl's death were unclear, and the local authorities were unable to determine a cause. Still, many believed that room 404 had claimed another victim. In the years that followed, more deaths were reported in room 404, each one more perplexing than the last. One of the most intriguing cases involved a well-known singer named Tito Scippa, who was found dead in the room from an apparent heart attack. Despite being in the prime of his career, Scipio's sudden death sent shockwaves through the hotel and the music world alike. But as with the previous cases, no one could explain how Scipio's death was connected to room 404. As the deaths mounted, rumors began to swirl about the nature of room 404 and whether there was something sinister lurking within its walls. Some believed that the room was haunted by the ghosts of those who had died there, while others suspected that there was a curse placed on the room itself. Regardless of the cause, the string of deaths was taking a heavy toll on the hotel's reputation, and management was desperate to find a solution. Finally, after much deliberation, they decided to seal off room 404 and convert it into storage, hoping that this would put an end to the tragic occurrences. But as it turned out, this was only the beginning. After sealing off room 404, the hotel management hoped that the mysterious deaths would finally come to a halt. However, to their horror, the deaths continued even with the room sealed off. It seemed as though the very walls of the hotel were haunted by an evil presence that refused to be contained. One evening, a young couple checked into the hotel for a romantic getaway. They were excited to explore the beautiful town of Montecatini Terme and indulge in the hotel's luxurious amenities. However, they soon realized that their room was far from the sanctuary they had envisioned. Every time they ventured into the room, they were met with an oppressive atmosphere that made them feel uneasy and uncomfortable. Despite their discomfort, they decided to stay in the room, hoping that the feeling would eventually pass. But as the night wore on, the atmosphere in the room grew increasingly heavy. They could hear strange noises coming from the walls and doors, and a sense of dread settled over them. They tried to ignore the unsettling sounds, but as they lay in bed, they felt a cold presence at the foot of their bed. Then they saw it, a dark figure standing at the foot of their bed, watching them. They froze in terror as the dark figure began to approach them. They screamed and tried to flee, but it was too late. The dark figure loomed over them and reached out with a cold, scaletile hand. They could feel the icy touch on their skin like a corpse's touch. Then everything went black. When the hotel staff arrived, they found the couple lying on the floor, their bodies drained of all color. It was as though the life had been sucked out of them, leaving behind 2 empty shells. The police were called in to investigate, but they were unable to determine a cause of death. The only clue they had was the chilling account from the hotel staff, who described seeing a dark figure in the room. Some dismissed it as a hallucination brought on by the oppressive atmosphere of the room, while others believed that there was something sinister lurking in the shadows. As news of the couple's death spread, more and more guests began to come forward with their own experiences in room 404. One guest recounted how he had been writing in his journal when he heard footsteps pacing back and forth on the other side of the wall. He assumed it was just another guest in an adjacent room, but the sound continued long after the guests next door had retired for the night. Another guest described how she had been awakened in the middle of the night by the sound of a man's voice whispering her name. When she turned on the bedside lamp, she saw a dark figure standing in the corner of the room, watching her intently. It became clear that room 404 was hiding something dark and sinister, and the hotel management knew they had to do something to protect their guests. As the rumors and stories about room 404 continued to grow, the hotel management knew that they had to take action. They decided to hire a team of paranormal investigators to come and assess the situation. The team arrived at the hotel with state-of-the-art equipment, ready to uncover the secrets of room 404. They set up cameras, motion detectors, and audio recorders throughout the room, hoping to capture any evidence of paranormal activity. As the investigation began, the team encountered strange and unexplainable phenomena that defied rational explanation. One investigator, Sabella Rossi, was using a thermal imaging camera when she suddenly detected a cold spot in the corner of the room. As she approached the area, she saw the distinct outline of a man standing in the corner, even though there was no one there. Another investigator, Marco Ferrati, was recording audio when he suddenly heard a voice whispering in Italian. The voice was faint and distorted, but it was clear that it was coming from the walls of the room. As the investigation continued, the team uncovered more and more evidence of a dark presence in the room. They found objects moving on their own, doors opening and closing on their own, and even felt a cold touch on their skin as if someone were walking among them. The team was shaken by what they had witnessed, and they knew that they had stumbled upon something truly extraordinary. But as they delved deeper into the mystery of room 404, they also uncovered a dark secret that had been hidden for decades. Through their investigation, the team discovered that the man who had died in room 404 was not just a random guest. He was a wealthy aristocrat who had checked into the hotel under a false name. His real identity was Count Giacomo di San Polo, and he had been wanted for a series of mysterious deaths that had occurred in his family. The team also discovered that the girl who had died in the same room was not a random child, but rather the Countess's niece. It was rumored that the Countess had poisoned her own family members for their money, and she had been on the run ever since. As the team pieced together the puzzle, they realized that room 404 was not just a haunted room. It was a tomb for the secrets and sins of the past. The team was horrified by their discovery, but they knew that they had to share their findings with the world. They published their investigation, which caused a sensation and brought to light a dark chapter in the history of the Grand Hotel des Bains. Do you believe in ghosts? Do you think the stories about room 404 are true, or simply a clever marketing ploy to attract visitors? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more content.